Welcome to Tiny Home Blueprints. Everyone says tiny homes are always cheap, but is that really true? Let's find out. Every tiny home video you've ever watched starts the same way. Cute couple, reclaimed wood, a price tag that reads, under $30,000 in bold yellow text. And you think, I could do that too. Here's what they're not telling you. In 2026, the average tiny home costs $300 to $400 per square foot to build. That's more expensive per square foot than a regular house. Not less. More. A standard American home runs you about $150 to $200 a square foot. Your tiny, affordable 250 square foot dream home is quietly costing you more per foot than a 2,500 square foot house down the street. If that number just made your stomach drop a little, good. Stay with me, because by the end of this video you'll know exactly why tiny homes cost what they cost, where the real savings actually are, and where they completely disappear. Before we get into it, if you're actually planning a build, or even just tiny home curious, hit subscribe right now. This channel exists to give you the numbers nobody else will. And this series, Tiny Home Secrets They Don't Tell, is only going to get more useful from here. Next episode, we're looking at where this whole movement is actually headed by the end of the decade. But you need today's episode first, because it's the foundation everything else builds on. Let's start with the myth itself, because it didn't come from nowhere. The tiny home movement was built on a promise. Shrink your square footage, shrink your bills, escape the mortgage trap. And on the surface, that promise is technically true. The average tiny home today costs somewhere between $30,000 and $70,000 fully built. Compare that to a median U.S. home price that crossed $400,000 in the last year. That gap is real. That gap is why millions of people have looked at tiny living seriously. But cheaper than a house and cheap are two very different claims. And the industry has spent a decade quietly letting people confuse the two. Here's the part that surprises almost everyone the first time they hear it. A tiny home needs a full kitchen, a full bathroom, a complete electrical panel, plumbing, heating and cooling, insulation, the exact same systems a 2,500 square foot house needs. The difference is a big house spreads those fixed costs across thousands of square feet. Your tiny home crams the same systems into 200 or 300 square feet. You are not paying less for a toilet because your house is smaller. You are paying the same amount for that toilet, divided across a much smaller number of square feet, which is exactly why the per square foot price goes up, not down. This is why a 300 square foot tiny house and a 400 square foot tiny house can sometimes cost close to the same total price. You're not really buying square footage. You're buying a kitchen, a bathroom, a structure, and a set of systems. And the square footage is almost an afterthought on top of that. So let's get specific, because vague ranges don't help anyone plan a real budget. A 100 square foot ultra-minimalist build runs roughly $15,000 to $43,000. A 200 square foot home, the size a lot of solo tiny house buyers land on, runs $30,000 to $86,000. A 300 square foot home, genuinely the most popular size because it balances livability with cost, runs $45,000 to $129,000. Push up to 400 square feet, which is about as large as most people still call tiny, and you're looking at $70,000 to $170,000. Notice something? The range gets wider, not narrower, as the homes get bigger. That's because at 400 square feet, you're deciding whether you want full-size appliances, an actual bedroom instead of a loft, and real storage. And every one of those decisions moves the number hard in one direction or the other. Prefab and park model options sit at the cheaper end of all of this. A prefab shell can start around $150 to $250 a square foot, sometimes even lower for a basic kit before you've added a single interior finish. A finished factory direct park model can land around $100 a square foot delivered, genuinely less than half the cost of a custom site-built tiny home. If cheap is your actual priority over custom, this is where you look first, and we'll get into exactly what you give up for that discount later in this video. Now here's where most tiny home content quietly stops talking, and where this channel keeps going. The build price you see advertised almost never includes land. Land averages around $18,000 an acre nationally, But a quarter-acre suburban lot can run $10,000 to $30,000 on its own before you've poured a single foundation. Foundations themselves run $5,000 to $60,000, depending on whether you're doing a basic slab or a full pier and crawl space setup. Utility hookups, water, electric, septic, or sewer, sometimes propane, add another $3,000 to $15,000. Site prep, meaning grading, clearing, and getting a gravel pad ready, adds $2,000 to $25,000 more. Permits alone average around $1,380 nationally, but in stricter counties they climb into the several $1,000s range. Add skirting, a deck, and basic underpinning, and you're looking at another few thousand on top of that. Add it up, and most builders will tell you honestly, budget $15,000 to $50,000 beyond your home sticker price just to get it livable on land. That's not a scare number. That's the actual industry standard buffer, and it's the single biggest reason people blow through their tiny home budget in the first year. If you're hiring professionals instead of building yourself, labor alone eats 40% to 60% of your total cost. Labor rates have also climbed roughly 12% since 2024, driven by a genuine skilled labor shortage in small-scale residential construction. Skilled builders are charging $100 to $250 an hour depending on your region and the complexity of your design. This is the part the aspirational YouTube videos conveniently skip. The couple who built it themselves for $28,000 usually means they personally provided 500+ hours of unpaid labor. That's not a criticism. That's a legitimate way to cut costs. But it's not free. It's a trade of your time for money. And most people underestimate how many hours that actually is until they're 3 months into a build that was supposed to take 6 weeks. If you go full DIY using kit materials, you can realistically land in the $15,000 to $40,000 range in materials alone. That's roughly half of what a professionally built equivalent costs. But plumbing and electrical should still be handled by licensed professionals in almost every state, both for safety and because most permitting offices simply won't sign off otherwise. Go the professional route, and most buyers land in a mid-range of $60,000 to $80,000 for solid craftsmanship, standard appliances, and acceptable insulation. Push into premium territory, quartz countertops, skylights, off-grid solar arrays, and you can cross $150,000 without much effort. At that point, you have to ask yourself honestly whether you're still buying a tiny home or buying a small luxury house that happens to be under 400 square feet. Here's the part that catches the most people off guard, and it's not about the build cost at all. It's about how you pay for it. Most tiny homes don't qualify for a traditional mortgage. FHA loans require a minimum of 400 square feet and a permanent foundation with HUD certification, and most tiny homes hit neither requirement. That pushes most buyers toward personal loans instead. And personal loan rates for tiny homes currently range anywhere from 6% all the way up to 36%, depending on your credit. That top end isn't a typo. That's a rate that can genuinely double what you pay over the life of the loan compared to a conventional mortgage. Insurance is its own quiet surprise too. If your tiny home is mobile, it often gets insured as an RV rather than a dwelling, which comes with its own coverage gaps. Annual insurance typically runs $500 to $2,000 depending on how your home is classified. Another recurring cost that never makes it into the under $30,000 headline number. None of this means tiny homes are a bad idea. It means the savings live in a different place than most people expect. The real financial win isn't the build cost. It's everything downstream of it. Lower property taxes because you're taxed on a smaller structure. Lower utility bills because you're heating and cooling a fraction of the space. Lower long-term maintenance because there's simply less house to maintain. And if you go the second-hand route, resale tiny homes sell for 20% to 40% below comparable new builds, often in genuinely solid condition, which is one of the most underused ways to actually make cheap true rather than aspirational. Compare total cost of ownership over 10 years, not just the day one price tag, and tiny homes absolutely can win. But if you walk in expecting a $30,000 home with zero surprises, you're the person this video was made for. Cheaper than a traditional house in total dollars, but per square foot, they routinely cost more, and the hidden costs of land, permits, utilities, and financing can add tens of thousands of dollars that in. So here's the honest version. Tiny homes are not always cheap. They are almost always ever show up in the sticker price you saw on social media. That doesn't mean don't do it. It means go in with real numbers instead of a highlight reel. And if you want to know where this entire movement is actually going, new codes, new financing options, new build technology already reshaping what tiny even means, that's exactly what we're covering in the next episode, the future of tiny homes. Subscribe now so you don't miss it, and I'll see you there.